Well, you did it. Somewhere along the way, you realized, you figured out, you heard that poverty is affecting people in a negative way. First of all, let me just say congratulations. Thank you for waking up to that reality. Now what, right? Now what do we do and how do we do it? I've been in this whole thing of being with people, being among people who are hurt and impacted daily by poverty, by homelessness for over 14 years now. And I've learned a little bit along the way, not because I'm smart, but because I listen. And so I want to share a little bit of that with you this week on The Edges. The first lesson I want to share with you is the first thing I learned when I got to the streets, and that is responding to poverty is a lifelong learning process, and that process is humbling. And since it's a process or a journey, I want to make sure that you don't get stuck. Many of us do. We start our process, we start our journey, we figure out one way of helping the poor, and that's where we stay. We think that's the best way. But what we've learned along the way by paying attention to those who are actually in impoverished situations is that we don't know much. That's okay. It's okay that you have to unlearn. It's okay that you have to learn a better response, because how we give and why we give really needs to be challenged. My first lesson in this was the first time I ever went to a soup kitchen. I had taken a youth group down to inner city Minneapolis to work among young people at a church. On the Tuesday evening of that week, we went over to a soup kitchen. First time I ever been in one in my life. We walked in, found the lady in charge, and told her that we were there to help out for the evening. She said, "That's terrific. Grab a tray, sit down with one of the folks who was eating the meal, and chat with them for the night." I clarified, no, we're from the church. We are here to help." She said, "I know that. What I need you to do is grab a tray and sit down and help by chatting with the people. The people here don't need you to put anything on their plate. We got lots of people to do that. But what they could use is a friend. Someone to chat with them, someone to hang out with them. They don't need service, they need friendship." Basic response to impoverished folks is charity. We give out of our extra to those who have very little. And I have learned there are three major problems to this. The first problem with charity is it maintains a power differential between those who give and those who receive. There is always a power differential there. The one giving is always in control of the relationship. The one receiving is always the weaker partner. So charity fails to acknowledge the dehumanizing impact of this style of relationship, where one person is always in control and the other person is always receiving. There is never a chance for mutuality. There's a never chance to learn from one another, to admit if you're the stronger one that you have weaknesses, or if you're the receiving one that you actually have things to give, actually have aspects of your life that are worth offering to other people. The second problem with charity is it assumes that we know what is best to give to others, that we can see the problem better than they can, that we understand their lives better than they do, so we come in like Superman and save them with our gifts. We give them the things that we think they need. That's charity. Yes, they might need a meal. Yes, they might need a few bucks. Definitely, most of them need housing. But some of them might actually tell you they don't need you. The problem is we are in the way of them getting actually what they need. We don't like to hear that, do we? The third problem with charity is it fails to address the problems within the system itself. It operates within the system itself. So anybody who is benefiting from the present system has extra. Anybody who's being crushed by the present system needs to receive that extra. So one of the more challenging things I've had to realize in the last few years is that I actually do benefit from the system. And that messes me up, because there isn't too much less that I want to do with my life than to participate in a system that crushes some of the people I really love. So when I realized this, I didn't feel sorry for myself or try to deny the fact that this was my reality. I headed back to the edges, to my friends on the edges of society, and asked them, now what? What do I do now? So the first thing that I want to offer you is this. Take the long, slow, patient process of becoming an ally. An ally is someone who's invited in. They don't impose their way in. They don't think because they came from the church that they deserve to be there. They take their time, listen, pay attention, perhaps even become friends, and then get invited to be part of that allyship. Allyship is two things. First is a deep listening and an understanding that the person who knows the lives best of those who are impacted by the situation is the person in the situation themselves. Too often we go in with our imposed understanding, our imposed ways of seeing it, and give them what we think is the right answer. And what we have failed to do is listen and expect them to be the experts in their own lives. Secondly, then, we take that information and challenge the system. We stand with our friends who are in the broken situations and challenge the system. We educate others. We go to protests. We say enough is enough with the way it is. I've learned all of these things along the way, and it has not been easy. But my teachers have been gentle. They're the people who are actually experiencing this poverty. They're the people who have been housing deprived. They're the people living in oppression. And somehow when this dude with the bald head came out and started trying to help them, they were gentle with me. They came along beside me and taught me these lessons. And now I get to teach you these lessons. There's much more to say on this topic, so we're going to get to that in the next few weeks. If you want to hear more, hit subscribe down below or leave a comment. Until next week, thanks for listening.